Well, it's great to have the mayor and Scott Maddasion on the second Thursday of the month on FYI. And I was to get right into it. You vetoed the boathouse, Mayor.
Yeah, so it's a project that's been worked on since about 2021. And when that project, and I was actually in office then, and when the first time it came around, it was like a $412,000 project, and we had a $310,000 grant, which we still had. We had some money from ADM and a couple other places. So this was going to be a really minimal cost to the city. You know, it would have cost maybe $25,000 or $50,000 total for the city. So as we come down the road, the first time we took bids, it was $1.5 million, and we rejected those bids. The next time around here, now it's just shy of $1 million, right? And as I'm looking through the analysis and I'm looking through everything, and I do want to mention the Finance Committee did a good job. They figured out how we could pay for it. We reallocated funds from this or that and other projects to we could have paid for it. And it's not like it was going to be detrimental to the city. But at the end of the day, I don't think we should spend the money on it. I think that it was a little excessive. $1 million for a boathouse, I think, was way too much. I know myself and a couple council members thought maybe the slip that it's in, we could retrofit it. If it needs a lift, you know, those are like 10 grand, 12 grand. We can get a lift. We can put in the slip. If we need sides on it, we can put some sides on the thing to cover it up. I think there's other ways to protect that boat, so to speak, than $1 million boathouse. And then also, the same meeting this came on, we had our final report from the Corps of Engineers about our marina study. We're trying to figure out why we're having silting problems and all this stuff. And right at the bottom of CDOC, where we want to build the boathouse, is right at the beginning of where we're having problems with silting, right? Mm-hmm. So I also felt like building that boathouse right now was maybe not the best idea until we figure out the marina and why we're having problems there, because, you know, by law, we're supposed to maintain a depth in that Joyce's Slough, and we're supposed to be able to do that. And right now, we're not at that level because we needed to figure out what the problem is. And the Corps came back and didn't really have a solution for us, which was disappointing. So I think all of those things kind of combined. I just felt like it wasn't a project that we should be doing. And the way I have veto power, right? The council can overturn that. The way I look at it is, you know, sometimes if I'm thinking about something and I'm concerned, I take into consideration, like, if I was on council, would I say no or would I vote yes, right? Because that's what a veto is. It's me voting yes or voting no. Essentially. So I kind of felt like if I was on the council in this situation, giving all the circumstances and all the reasons I put in my veto letter, I would have been a no vote on that, and that's kind of why I did that. So,
as you said, they could possibly overturn the veto, but what would that take? Just a simple majority by the council?
It takes 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so just a majority is 4, a simple majority. So it takes 5 votes to overturn a veto, and it was 4-3 at that night. So at the moment, unless one of the 3 votes would change, there's not an opportunity to overturn that. And the council, by code, has 30 days to bring it back and overturn it. But I don't know if they're going to do that. I haven't heard discussions of that. But if they do, you know, it is what it is. Okay. So.
Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion. Grant application for abatement and demo of the YMCA.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this for a long time. The newer portion of the YMCA building is in pretty bad shape. The roof on all the sections was leaking. There's a lot of mold. There's a lot of nasty stuff. The structure's not safe. The old part is perfectly structurally sound, which is, you know, it's interesting since they're all connected together. So the council the other night passed a resolution to seek funding from the EPA, similar to the funding that we got on South 4th Street to tear those buildings down. Was it last year now? It would have been last summer that happened. So we're going to go down that same process, see if we can get some grants to help take care of the asbestos, get that mitigated in the old part and the new part, obviously, and then tear it down and leave the old, I think it was 1906 or something like that. It was built, something like that. So anyway, that's what we're going to pursue on that. I did bring up the other night about tearing the whole thing down, just clearing the block and just starting fresh. And we talked about it. The problem is the grant funds wouldn't work for the older part because it's structurally sound and it has to not be, essentially, to get those funds. And then I did have a friend who we've worked with on other projects doing development stuff that reached out to me because he was at the meeting for a different reason, and he said, hey, let me talk to you about this tax credit stuff and how it works and why you should leave the old part there. So I'm going to have a conversation with him next week, and maybe my mind will change on leveling the whole block, you know.
It's kind of interesting because, you know, right across the street, if you got the old post office, another probably structurally sound building, but old.
Yeah, and it's in terrible shape.
Yeah.
And I don't know the owners, but it's riddled with nefarious activity. There's people breaking in the basement. There's people living there on the back thing. So that building really needs to be taken care of. So it's a shame that they're letting it kind of look like it is. So
yeah, I guess so. Pursuing biogas project for the wastewater plant.
Yeah, so this big wastewater, you drive over the viaduct going to Comanche there, you see the big wastewater expansion going on, and that's our partnership with ADM to start taking their wastewater because they're going to be decommissioning their wastewater plant due to the DNR and their consent decree, and we felt like this was the best fit for them to be able to take care of their needs, and then also the city will generate some revenue. But with that comes a biogas, which is basically going to be methane that's going to be generated out of the waste that comes from ADM. So we're pursuing with ADM a biogas project where we would be able to generate that gas off the wastewater, capture it, clean it is what they call it. I don't know how you clean gas, but whatever. That's above my head. I'm not an engineer or a scientist. So they clean the gas, and then we would be able to sell it, maybe to Alliant Energy or other places that need to buy gas like that for their things. So there's going to be an additional potential revenue stream for that. So we're working with HDR is the name of the company. It's the feasibility of us generating revenue off this and doing it is there, right? Mm-hmm. So now we're working in agreement with ADM because we definitely need their help on this whole thing. As far, you know, none of us are commodity traders, and ADM has that ability to do that. So as a team here, you know, our plant, their expertise, we can work together and hopefully generate some revenue off what would be waste that would burn in a flare if we didn't. So
that's quite a project. How's that coming along?
It's coming along extremely well. We've got some great contractors out there. We've got good folks out there at the wastewater plant that are plugging away. It's complex, you know. And
boy, the amount of dirt and rubble and that they had to move out was amazing.
Yeah, they've done a lot of earthwork out there, and they had to bring some back in and this and that. So it's a project that it's going to take some time, but it's going to be a great thing for the city, not only to partner with ADM and help them out as far as the wastewater and generate some revenue for us, but it actually opens up our capacity hugely for the wastewater plant. So when we're looking at industry expansions and in business expansions, no matter what it is, residential expansions, our wastewater plant is going to be able to handle 2 or 3 times as much as we could at the moment, which is prime and ready for those types of things.
And there seems to be a lot of activity out there on the west side. I mean, what Nestle Purina is doing with that new storage unit that they're going to have out there, and of course, you got the siding place out there. They're doing great guns.
Yeah, I think.
Or roofing, not siding.
A lot of places are expanding on that west side, and the exact reason for that, I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly, but you know, that's where the main traffic counts are on Highway 30 there. You know, when you're going down. So I'm assuming a lot of expansion is based on that, just the sheer traffic counts. But overall, I think expansion in the city we're doing really well. If you look at local businesses that are sprucing up their places and doing additions and adding on, I mean, there's a lot of good things going across the board, whether you're a small business with 1 or 2 employees all the way up to the ADMs and the Lyondell's and the Nestle's.
All right, visiting with Scott Maddasion, we'll have more, but first a check of the weather brought to you by Van's Carpet Corner.
It is deja vu for your Thursday as we'll see more of the same weather-wise. Lots of sunshine, a gentle southwest breeze. Temperatures aiming their way for the low 80s again this afternoon. It will not be as cool tonight, but we'll keep skies clear. Temperatures will fall to the comfortable low 50s. With your Storm Track 8 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Sunshine, we're at 55 degrees. Our update brought to you by Van's Carpet Corner.
Give your home a new look with these exclusive offers from Van's Carpet Corner in Fulton. They offer a great selection of heavyweight luxury carpet. Get new rolls of multicolored carpeting installed over pad starting at $245 a a square foot. 12 colors of luxury vinyl plank, only $2.89 a square foot until gone. Carpet and vinyl remnants for as low as 99 cents a square foot, material only. Hurry in to Van's Carpet Corner, 1430 10th Avenue in Fulton. Phone 815-208-7020.
Visiting out with Scott, we were just talking during the break. His brother Eric is helping out the River King, so that's kind of great to see a former King out there helping out.
Yeah, it is, and I think that was the intent of Coach Herrig, was to get more of those players that have came through the program to come back and be involved. I mean, the Caldwells are there, and Eric and a couple others. So I think it's a cool thing, and kind of a proud brother too, watching him out there coach, because I coached basketball for a long time.
Right.
And
yeah.
Seeing him out there is pretty cool.
Eric was a good quarterback for us. Parks petition was presented to the council. I had somebody come up to me and ask me about this, or say something to me about this at the homecoming breakfast. So what's going on there?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people know there's a petition out there. They're calling themselves Save Our Parks, I think is what I call it, and they received 2,024 signatures, which to put an ordinance in the city books that would not allow the sale of any park ground without the citizens voting on it, right? And we're going to use the example because this is why it came up. The city sold DeWitt Park to the YWCA for the supportive housing thing, and that's where it all came from, right? So they're basically trying to eliminate the ability for council to do something like that in the future. So that petition, after the clerk went through it, 100 signatures were either duplicates or not qualified electors in the city. So it ended up being 1,924 signatures that were on the petition. They needed 1,500 signatures, so they have more signatures than they needed, which was good. So that was brought to the clerk. It was certified. Now we're in a 60-day window according to code where we have to figure out what we're going to do. And we're waiting on legal. We had a nice discussion on it the other night with legal counsel, but we're trying to figure out what our steps are here, because council can adopt an ordinance with exactly the language that was written that they came up with on their petition. I believe, my interpretation, the council can pass an ordinance that doesn't change the substance, but maybe is not the exact wording of what they're doing. I believe that's okay, but we're waiting on legal to tell us for sure. Or council can do nothing, and at the end of 60 days, it would go to a ballot. A special election, probably March next year, it'd be a special election, right? And then the citizens would vote on the language that was presented there. So that was a big conversation at the meeting the other night.
Yeah, you probably don't have the exact figure, but how much property is considered parks property?
I don't know the acreage. You can ask Josh when he's here for his FYI thing. He'll tell you exactly what it is. But we have a parks master plan that indicates all of that ground and all those parks and everything. So it's a large amount, especially when you're adding in Eagle Point, and the riverfront is like a park, the whole thing basically, right? Riverview Park. So yeah, it's a lot. But the one thing I want to say on this too is, and I said this the other night at the meeting, is I don't care what side of the fence you're on with this, whether you agree with the petition or you don't or whatever. It doesn't matter. What really matters is this has never been done before. A petition has never been brought to the council like this since we started this back in the 80s with the Home Rule Charter. It's never been completed. And I'm just happy and impressed that our government is working the way it's supposed to. Because this is a function, what the citizens of Clinton are able to do, and they banded together and they're doing that, and the petition came. So me personally, the outcome of this is it is what it is, right? If council chooses to do something, or if it goes to a vote and the citizens vote, I'm just happy with the citizens of Clinton getting involved in doing this. So
yeah, interesting, very interesting. Finalized sale of ground at South 4th Street.
Yeah, so Build to Suit BTS development is going to build some townhomes on the South 4th Street where we tore down those buildings across from Hy-Vee. So this is something that they do. They build these units, and they try to kind of we'll say change the appearance of neighborhoods, I guess, you know what I mean, in a positive manner. And that area down there needs some change, as far as it's with those buildings there, and I don't mean the houses around it necessarily or anything like that, but those buildings were pretty awful, right? And that's a kind of a main thoroughfare into town, right? You come into town, you come across a bridge, you're right there going to the highway, and I think this is going to be really good for that. And we've seen in a lot of places, as you build new things or people update their houses or we do this, then you start seeing that all over the place, right? Because people try to keep up with the Joneses, you know? So yeah, it's going to be cool, and the city will have some money into it, but it's a development that they're extremely excited about, and they think that they can make it happen, and then they'd like to kind of expand in that area and start building more once this is successful. So
outstanding.
Yeah.
Again, visit with Scott Maddasion. So we're going to talk a little music here.
Yeah, I thought it was important to note that this weekend on Sunday at noon, I think it's noon to 4 or noon to 5, they're having a fall music fest down on the avenue, 5th Avenue South, with the Sheriff's Department's doing a Halloween kind of party thing and all that. So it should be a fun day for everyone. And I know a lot of people, you know, there's nothing to do in Clinton. Well, here you go. Here's something you can do. Bring your family out. It should be fun. They'll have the, you know, touch trucks. They'll have all that stuff going on. They'll have candy. They'll have music. It'll be a cool thing and a good event. And from my knowledge, they have never done this before in October, so it's kind of a first time for this. And I know Music on the Avenue is well attended and things, so I'm sure this will be as well.
Is that going to be in the 200 block again? Then?
Yeah, it'll be both blocks.
Oh, the 100 and the 200?
My understanding.
Okay.
Yeah. So the 200 block will be the Music on the Avenue, similar things with the food trucks and all that stuff, and then the next block over will be more of the Halloween stuff. And don't quote me on that, but I think that's what they told me when we were discussing it. So yeah, it'll be a cool day.
So this Sunday, beginning at noon.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're in.
Hey, I'm
Appreciate
in.
it. Yeah. I know they've got a wine walk coming up on the 17th in downtown Clinton.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're going to have Lou in to talk a little bit about that. We got a couple more minutes here with you. Appreciate your time as always.
Sure.
Tailgate and Tall Boys, update us on how things are going there.
Yeah, things are going really well there. We're continuing to work with USA Concerts to get the lineup built. Some people may think we're a little bit behind than last year because we did go on sale September 1st last year, but this is on purpose, well, so to speak. We're not behind. We've decided USA Concerts kind of weighed a lot of things over all their festivals, and what we want to do is we want to build the entire lineup and then announce the entire lineup at one time instead of just doing headliners, right? Headliners obviously draw the major crowds, but the whole lineup is important. So we're going to build the entire lineup, and then it's going to be announced in November. We're targeting that Black Friday, Thanksgiving week is kind of when we'll go on sale. Also going on sale on September 1 was pretty early. I mean, you're only like 2 months past the the actual festival, you know, or 2.5, and so that's when you can expect to see those announcements and things. So.
Of course, last year was is this the upcoming third year?
This will be the third year.
Okay, this will be the third year, and of course, it was a 3-year commitment that you did make. So when do you actually have to continue with the commitment?
Yeah, good question. So it might have been 2 meetings ago. We had it, our update, and I think we talked about it the last time I was in here, so it might have been longer than that ago. But the council approved 7-0 to pursue a new contract with USA Concerts.
Okay.
So we, Josh and I have talked to them a little bit about that new contract and what it's going to look like, but we haven't got too far into discussions with them yet because we're kind of focused on this year 3 to get it going, and then they also have a lot of business stuff that they're doing right now. They have a lot of trade conferences and meetings in Nashville and things like that they do for their business, obviously, you know, and they're there all week this week, and I think they were there some of last week. So as soon as they kind of get that stuff wrapped up here in the next week or so, we'll start working on that new contract and hopefully get it to council before January 1st, but we'll see.
So with that new contract, I mean, is that another thing where they want a 3 or a 4 or 5 year commitment, or is it year to year?
Yeah,
then?
Wayne from USA Concerts wanted a 5-year originally, right? And council chose just to do the 3-year. So I would expect that we're going to target that 5-year number. Okay. That's where I would like to target, because you know, really, and he said this from the beginning. You can go back to that first meeting when Wayne was here talking to us at the council meeting. That it really does take 5 years to get this off the ground, right? You might profit or break even in that 1 to 5 year time frame, but really it's that year 5 where you get it, because you got to get your brand established. And Clinton, I think last year we found that camping is probably going to be our brand. I mean, we had campers all over the place, right? And we're going to try to amp that up even more this year. So hopefully we're that camping festival where we just have people kind of all over all weekend and having fun. And so that's kind of what we're going to focus on, hopefully as our niche as we're going forward. So.
And I know the one thing, as you pointed out, when Wayne first looked at Clinton for the possibility, he just loved the riverfront.
Yeah, he absolutely does. So Tailgate and Tallboys originally started on the riverfront in Peoria, Illinois, and they moved to Bloomington for whatever reasons they moved for. But they love the riverfront, and Wayne had actually been here before. Him and Matt Prescott from Candlelight are close, and they know each other really well. So he had been to Clinton before, and then when we got him here, it was funny. It was a February day. It was freezing cold, and we were walking around in front of the band shell in the snow. There's probably three inches of snow on the ground, and we're walking down there, and I'm freezing, and he's like got his mind going, And so yeah, I mean, we've come a long way, and I think we're gonna try to find ways to add more things to this festival, and continue to utilize the riverfront at a high level, which is part of our comprehensive plan and our parks master plan is finding ways to utilize that festival space. So
and you made some changes, of course, as far as the stage setting and things like that. That worked out really well.
Yeah. Layout's not going to change this year. I do think we identified. So if you're looking at the stage, it would be like right over by Ballpark Road by the band shell area. We did identify there's a dead area there. It was like a lot of open space when nobody was there. So we're going to try to utilize that space a little bit better too. Other than that, the everything was perfect, and I think the layout won't change at all. Other than they had the bars down the middle, right behind the sound, and in Bloomington they didn't love it in Clinton. So when they went to Bloomington the next week, they changed it. So I think that will change layout-wise, but that's not really a huge thing. So, yeah.
Appreciate, as always, your time. If people want to find out more about what's happening in the city, there are many ways they can do that.
Yep. City website is the best way to do it. Get on there. You got the AI bot that you can search for whatever you want, or you can go to the iCompass under agendas, meetings, click that tab. You can search for anything you want. All the documents from every council meeting, everything's on there. So the information's at your fingertips, and if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to me as well. So
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Love it. Embrace it. Right now. The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
Devontae Adams prefers a trade. Now, you say he prefers a trade. He didn't demand a trade.